Hello, beautiful ones. Welcome back to your practice. Today we will be focusing a little more on our hips. And what is really common in today's modern world is for our hips to be both tight and weak. So we will be looking to mobilize, but also to engage our muscles in a lengthened position so we can balance length with strength. You won't need any props today. And before we begin, I'd like to let you know that I'm on Patreon. So if you're a regular and you'd like access to longer form practices, then you can find me on Patreon at Sonsie, and the link is in the description too. I'll see you on the mat. Okay, beautiful ones. Today we'll start in a downward facing dog. So let's head on in to downward dog and begin our practice from there. Let the feet be about hip width distance. Hands can be shoulder width or a little wider. And you might just take a few breaths here to arrive. Feel free to find a little bit of delicious movement too, whether that's moving the hips side to side or cycling through the legs or shaking the head no, nodding the head yes. Maybe there's a lovely deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we'll gently press the balls of the feet down now. And feel as though you're also trying to pull the feet back. So balls of feet pressing down and gently pulling back. Let's take another in-breath. And on the out-breath, we'll step our right foot forward between the hands and come up into a crescent lunge. So we'll begin by just nudging into the muscles in the front of the hip. Hands can be at heart center and soften the back knee, bend the back knee. Now once you have the back knee bent, let's bring both hands to the front of the pelvis, to our hip points, those bony parts at the front of the pelvis. And it's like you're using the fingers to lift the hip points up. And nothing might actually move, so it's okay if nothing moves, but we're just creating the action of the hip points lifting up, and then maintaining that. Bring the attention to the back foot and firmly press the back foot down. So hip points lifting, back foot pressing down, and then let's reach the arms overhead. Take an easy breath in, full breath in. And on the exhale, we'll bring the hands to the mat and step back. Downward dog. Take a breath in, down dog. Balls of feet pressing down and balls of feet pulling the mat back. Another inhale. And then we'll exhale and left foot forward between the hands, coming gently up into crescent lunge. Hands to heart center a moment, and when you're ready, bend the back knee. Both hands, fingertips to hip points, gently lifting the hip points under the hands and maintaining that feeling of the front rim of the pelvis lifting up. Press the ball of your back foot down and just observe the sensations in the body and in the front of the right hip and right thigh. So using our technique today as a way of keeping us present and helping us to be in the body. When you're ready, reach the arms. Take another easy in-breath. And then we'll exhale and hands to mat and step back. Downward dog. Balls of feet pressing down, balls of feet pulling back, and this time we'll add another element, balls of feet also trying to pull apart as though they're pulling out towards the sides of the mat. Notice how this changes sensation for you, maybe through the outer compartment of your legs. Take another in-breath and exhale. One more time to each side. Right foot forward, crescent lunge. This time we'll add another little element. Hands to heart center. Soften the back knee. And now see if you can bend the back knee slowly, 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 all the way down until it lands on your mat. And if you needed to bring the hands down to the mat first to bring the knee down, that's okay. With the back knee on the mat, fingertips to hip points, gently encourage or create the action of the hip points lifting up. Attention to our back foot. The back foot, the left foot, firmly pressing down. And then we'll reach the arms once again. Take an in-breath. And this time on the out-breath, right hand to outer right thigh, left elbow outside the right knee, hands to prayer. One more inhale. And then we'll exhale and unwind hands to the floor, lift the back knee and step back, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now in this downward dog, let's take a little twist in the same direction that we did in our lunge. So pick up your left hand, reach it across underneath so that you can reach the left hand to the outer right thigh, calf, or ankle. And as you gently pull the hand into the leg, turn the torso to the right and look underneath the right armpit. And just another breath here, and as you turn, see if you can feel your right sitting bone reaching up and back into the space behind you. And then we'll let go, left hand to mat. And if you're like me, it's a really warm day, so my hands are slipping on the mat. Back in downward dog, balls of feet press down and pull back and pull apart, creating those actions of feet pressing down, pulling back and pulling outward to the sides of the mat. Take an in-breath. And then last time, second side, exhale, left foot forward. Let us come up into crescent lunge. Hands to prayer in front of the heart. Back knee bends. And nice and slowly, back knee lowers all the way down. So we meet here, back knee on the mat. Fingertips to hip points. Create the action of lifting the hip points up so the top rim of your buttock lengthens down. Back foot, right foot anchoring, pressing the floor away. Arms reaching. Allow the breath to just flow. So keep enough room for breath. If the breath is becoming a little tight, a little rigid, then maybe backing off a little. Effortless effort is what we're looking for. And then left hand to outer left thigh. Let's turn to the left. Right elbow outside left knee and left palm pressing down into right palm. Another full breath in here before we exhale and bring the hands either side of our front foot, lift the back knee and step that front foot back to down dog. So if you found that twist in downward dog really challenging, what can be really helpful is stepping the hands in just a little closer to the feet. So the downward dog is a little bit of a shorter length. And then let's pick up our right hand, reach underneath to the outer left leg, outer left ankle, calf or thigh, and gently pull the hand into the leg and turn and look underneath the left armpit. Keeping on reaching the left sitting bone and the top of the left thigh, up and back into the space behind. And next exhale, let's release. Hands back to downward facing dog. Balls of feet press down, pull back, and pull apart. Okay, so now let's move to the outer hip. So right knee forward behind the right wrist, single pigeon. Now, if this is a lot for the front knee, then you might roll a little onto the outer right hip and soften or bend your back knee. This is a beautiful modification. So choosing to stay here or single pigeon with the back leg long and the pelvis a little more level. And let's stay on the fingertips today and bring our attention to our front shin, our right shin. And it's as though we want to really press the floor away with our right shin. So front shin presses down, and create the same action with your back foot. Back foot presses down. And as we anchor down through these points, you'll notice that the pelvis becomes lighter and the spine effortlessly sort of wants to float up out of the pelvis. And you might be able to even float the hands. So we're lengthening the muscles in the outer compartment of the hip while also strengthening them or engaging them in a lengthened position. And next exhale, hands to mat, curl the back toes under, make your way back to down dog, and we'll switch sides. Left knee forward, behind left wrist. If you're taking the modification, you can still create the same actions of the front shin pressing down, but it might be a little bit more of a sense of the inner knee and the inner calf and inner foot pressing the mat away there. So there, whatever is in contact with the mat right now, pressing the mat away and lifting the chest. So finding your variation and noticing how this stability that you're creating in the legs travels up through the body and transmutes into lightness and openness, up the spine, up towards the crown of the head. Maybe the hands float. And when you're ready to release, let's release and make our way back to a downward facing dog. And from this down dog, let's gently walk our hands back to the feet. So we arrive in Uttanasana at the back of the mat, feet hip-width distance apart. So let's keep on the theme of the outer hip and the outer leg as well, the outer compartment of the leg. So here, let's bend our left knee and straighten our right leg. Place your left hand, your left fingertips on the mat, right in front of your nose. And if you have a block and you prefer to have the hand on a block, you could do that too. Right thumb hooks into the top of the right hip, or into the top of the right thigh rather. So right thumb hooks into right hip crease and gently presses the top of the right thigh back as we lengthen the crown of the head forward. And with the fingertips wrapping around the outer right thigh, that reminds us to keep our outer right hip hugged in as we turn the torso to the right. Notice if the base of the right big toe has become just a little light, and see if you can anchor through the base of the right big toe. And then when you're ready, let's release and switch sides. So now left leg is straight, right knee's bent, right fingertips to mat, right underneath your nose. Left thumb hooks into left hip crease. Left fingertips are wrapping around the outer left thigh. And then as we gently draw the top of the left thigh back, we do the opposite. It's like a dance. Crown of head lengthens forward, and then we turn the torso to the left. Anchoring through the base of the left toe. Enjoy another breath here. And then let's exhale, unwind from that one. And we'll walk our way all the way back forward into a downward facing dog. balls of feet pressing down, balls of feet pulling back, balls of feet pulling apart. Okay, let's step any foot you choose forward between the hands, and we'll pivot towards the long edge of the mat and turn our toes out a little, bend the knees, sit the hips down and bring the hands to the tops of the thighs for a moment. So we've done a little bit for the front of the hips in our lunges, a little bit for the outer compartment of the hip and leg, and now let's get to the inseam of the leg. So as you lean the torso forward, it's almost as though your spine is going to be parallel to the floor. And we'll bring our forearms to the insides of the thighs and gently press the knees out. Hands might hold the shins, or you might prefer to keep the hands free. And as you press the forearms into the inner thigh or inner knee, resisting the knees back into the forearms. So we've got this dance again, this conversation between these two parts of the body when they meet one another. There's just like a little bit of resistance. So we're strengthening or engaging our muscles on the inner thighs as we lengthen them. And then next exhale, let's release the hands to the mat, straighten the legs, turn the toes forward. And we'll fold forward and reach the hands back through the legs. Walk the fingertips back behind you or back through the legs. And as the feet anchor down, the spine waterfalls forward and create the action of feet pressing down and gently hugging or pulling in toward one another. Feet anchoring and gently hugging or pulling in towards the center of the mat. Lovely. We'll walk our hands back under the shoulders and lift the chest. Okay, let us bend the knees, hop the feet hip-width distance apart, fold over the legs. And then hands to waist, beautifuls, press the feet down and we'll slowly rise. Okay, so last formal shape for the practice today. Let's turn towards the top of the mat. Take a look at the feet and keep the feet hip-width distance apart. They're going to stay hip-width distance apart the whole time as we practice this shape. We'll pick up our left foot and step it back about halfway or 2/3 of the way down the mat. But the left foot is still in line with the left hip. The feet are still hip-width distance apart. Anchor the left heel, the left toes are turned out a little, maybe 30 or 45 degrees. Both legs straight and strong, torso turning forward. Reach the arms up overhead. Keep the awareness and the attention even through both legs, down into both feet. And then our left arm, we're actually just going to let it drop down alongside the body. Let it hang. And when you're ready, start to turn the torso, the chest, the gaze towards the right. Right arm stays reaching. Now, if the front leg needs to, it can start to bend a little, okay? So front leg stays straight or bends a little if you need. And we'll start to tilt forward, lean forward, keep turning to the right, let the left arm hang, keep turning to the right until the left hand comes to the floor, right underneath your left shoulder. Right arm reaching to ceiling, and you found your way into Parivrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle pose. And if the front knee's a little bent, that's okay. See if you can remember the feeling of the thumb in the hip crease, drawing the top of the thigh back, and the fingers outside the thigh, hugging the outer thigh and outer hip in. Just another moment, another breath. And then when you're ready, it's as though somebody is lovingly pulling you from your right fingertips. Press down through the feet And rise up, windmill the arms so that the left arm reaches up now and the right arm hangs down. And then we'll release the left arm and step back forward. Tadasana. Okay, so let's play with that on the second side. Right leg, feet stay hip width distance, but the right foot steps about 2/3 of the way, halfway back down the mat. You can play with the length of the stance. See what you enjoy. Right toes turned a little out, feet are anchoring. Gaze softly forward, torso forward, arms reach. And then same arm as back leg, so right arm drops down. Turn the torso towards the left. Keep the left arm reaching. Keep turning, rotating to the left and start to tilt and lean forward. Remember, you can always bend your front knee if you need. And then right hand will eventually alight on the floor underneath the right shoulder. And if to do that you need to bend the front knee, that's okay. Whether the front knee's bent or straight, we're still creating that same action of top of left hip reaching back and outer hip hugging in as we turn and crown of head lengthens forward. Parivriti Trikonasana, one more breath. And then use the ground, beautiful ones. So press the mat away through the feet, reach up through the left fingertips, rise, sweep the right fingertips up, and then relax. Right arm releases, step forward. Now that we're at the top of the mat, let's just flow down. Inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, hands to mat and step back. Last, downward facing dog. And because we're emphasizing strength in a lengthened position today, one more time, balls of feet press down and pull back and pull apart. And then we'll exhale and lower the knees to the mat. Sweep the feet off to one side and let's come down and lay on our backs. Hug the knees into the chest a moment and just see what you might need here. So if you're looking for a little more release through the inner thighs, maybe it's soles of feet together, knees wide. If you're looking for sensation of release through the inner thighs and the backs of the legs, it might be happy baby. If you're looking for more of an outer hip release, maybe it's just a brief thread the needle, figure 4 on either side. Or if you're looking for release a little bit through the front of the hip and thigh, then it might be one leg reaching long, hugging the opposite knee in towards the chest. And if you're playing with a shape or a pose that is asymmetrical, on the next breath, change sides, release and switch sides. You might just start to let a few of the exhalations go out of the mouth. And when you're ready, let the practice go. That can sometimes be a challenge in itself. We want to keep doing something, doing a final this or a final that, but know that it's been enough now. Trust that it's been enough. Let the practice go. Let the legs just fall out away from you. Find a comfortable resting shape. Hands and arms resting too. And as you let the practice go, also let the mind sort of start to dissolve. Dissolving down into the body. Observing the constellation of sensations. the breath washing through the body, and the heartbeat rippling out through the body too. Heart beating, breath rising and falling. Staying open and curious. Thank you for sharing your practice, beautiful friend. I look forward to practicing with you again next time. Peace, peace, peace.